Hey there! Welcome back to another review, this time of the 1990 film Captain America. Now, this is a film that, as I said at the end of the last review, this is gonna hurt. It didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. It was still pretty corny and pretty lame at points. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna be sick. I'll steal your car. uh, you're Captain America. You get car sick? uh, yeah, I can't defend that. But, I don't know, something about this time around, I would say it's a time waster and a guilty pleasure for me. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say it's a time waster and a guilty pleasure for me. This movie is not good. It's a bad film. It's just I've seen worse. I've seen worse superhero movies. I would definitely say without a doubt, that the last two TV movies were a lot worse than this. This at least has the right looking costume. The shield actually looks like Captain America's shield, and there are a few scenes in the movie where he gets to do a lot of stuff with the shield. There's some good choreography, gymnastics work, and so forth. Um, I like seeing Ronny Cox as president kicking some ass a little bit at the end of the film, near the end of the movie. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's still pretty bad. I mean, you got the totally spies, supermodels trying to hunt down Captain America. You got Italian Red Skull. You got some really lame stuff. But in comparison to the 70s TV movies, this is a masterpiece. And why the hell this gets the lowest rating out of all the Captain America movies on IMDb is beyond me. I'm sorry, the 70s movies are way worse than this. The 70s movies, TV movies, Red Brown, are way worse than this film because Steve isn't running around, driving around in a van and painting. Okay, here he actually fights. He gets in some fights, and he's kind of a lame character. He's like an aw shucks guy, but he's still technically Captain America. It is Captain America. You can watch this and be like, okay, that is Captain America. It's not nowhere near as good as First Avenger or Winter Soldier, but for a long time, it was the best Captain America film that Captain America fans really had. Was this film? Because before First Avenger, this was it. You weren't picking the 70s TV movies over this. Why would you? I know you actually have a Captain America villain in this, in the Red Skull, but he's Italian for some reason, which is stupid. If they didn't want the Red Skull in the movie, they should just add Baron Strucker or Baron Zemo or what's his name, Arnim Zola instead of Red Skull. But chose to have Red Skull be in the movie briefly, and then he gets plastic surgery and looks like Henry Silva, Mr. Pitface, with slick back hair. But yeah, I'm not saying it's good. It isn't good. It's one of those movies that I don't know. I could watch it today. It just was watchable. It was a time waster for me. And it's not good. It's not a good film, but for me, it's a time waster because I'm such a big fan of Captain America. I think that's it. Um, and I grew up with this film. I remember renting this as many times as I could, but I remember it being at a rental store that was it was not near my house, so I wasn't able to rent it very much, and so I wanted to add it to my collection, but I always had a hard time finding this on VHS. And I remember when I finally found it, it was a really cool moment, but now it's not really that hard to find. You can find the Blu-ray, which I wouldn't mind picking up sometime for the collection um, and for the little bit of features that are on it. But anyway, I know I did a review of this a while back, and I removed it because I was redoing these reviews anyway. And I don't know, times changed. I don't know. Maybe it's just I was in the right mood today. I don't know what it was. I cannot say I hated this movie. This is not going to be a rant. There might be a few moments where I might talk about how lame some things are about this movie, but for the most part, I was entertained by it. I definitely think it's one of Albert Pyun's better films. I think it's not one. I don't think there are much worse comic book movies than this for me. Elektra is definitely way worse. Fantastic Four: Rise of Silver Surfer is worse than this. Um, I would say Catwoman is worse than this movie. Batman and Robin is worse than Captain America. There's a lot of superhero films that I've seen. Both of those shitty TV movies starring Captain America are worse than this. but IMDb doesn't think so for some reason. It gets a 3.9 for Captain America 2, a 3.7 for Captain America, the 1979 TV movie, and a 3.2 for this. So it's a 3.7, 3.9 for those movies, and this gets a 3.2. Like, it's zero point 0.7 points lower, or zero point 0.5 points lower than those TV movies. Which, what kind of bizarre world are people in on IMDb where those shitty TV movies are better than this? I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is good, but it's a hell of a lot better than those movies. But anyway, Stan Lee helped produce the film. I remember hearing he wasn't very happy with it. Joseph Calamari, his last name is a squid. He also helped produce it as well. It's written by Stephen Tolkien and Lawrence Block, and it stars Matt Salinger as Captain America, Steve Rogers. Now, this guy's not the best actor. He really isn't. He's got all the personality of a wet napkin. He's a really, really bland guy. It's just we'll just put a piece of toast on the screen or white bread. There you go. There's Matt Salinger. And he's not really an actor. He's just the son of Turn the Rye writer J.D. Salinger. And he wasn't the first choice. Cannon tried to get Dolph Lundgren, but he decided to do the Punisher instead, which makes sense. Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher, as Captain America, doesn't make sense. As a Punisher, it makes a lot of sense. And the Punisher's way better than this, by far. It's not even close. This is at best a time waster for me. And an average bit of entertainment for me personally. But the Punisher's way better. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger actually wanted to be Captain America, but eventually, of course, they didn't want to go that route because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can't have Arnold Schwarzenegger, an Austrian, play Captain America. I mean, Arnold as Cap, can you imagine that? Captain America. It's just like, no. I'm Captain America. It's just, no. I love Arnold, but no. Not as Captain America. And, Michael Winner was originally supposed to direct the film, and it was supposed to in 1984, but then that didn't work out, and then another script was written in 86, and then John Stockwell, the star of My Science Project and Christine, he came on board to direct the film with Stephen Tolkien in 1987, but Golan then left Cannon in 1989, and as part of the severance package that was given control of the 21st Century Film Corporation, which were allowed to carry over the film rights of Captain America character. And the film began shooting in 1989, was completed in 1990. I guess Entertainment Tonight also visited the set during the making of the film, airing a segment in August 1989, which I actually be kind of curious to see that sequence. And the film cost $10 million to make. It doesn't really look like $10 million. It really doesn't. It might be considered the most money that Albert Pyun's ever gotten to make a movie. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a $10 million film. Yeah, Arnold's accent lost in the part, and Lundgren was busy filming The Punisher. Albert Pyun, he replaced John Stockwell. And Ronny Cox says that in an interview with Retro Junk, Ronny Cox says, Captain America remains to this day the finest script I have ever read. How these guys messed that film up, I never know. I will never know. I don't know. I don't think there's some really bad, corny lines of dialogue, so I don't know how I would consider that one of the best scripts you've ever read, Ronny Cox. You read scripts for Total Recall and RoboCop. I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe that. Also, Val Kilmer was considered for the title role, but he decided to do The Doors instead, which is interesting. Val Kilmer was considered for the role, didn't take it, would go on to play Batman later in Batman Forever. And they considered getting two different actors for the role of Captain America, one for the role of the weak pre-superhero Steve Rogers, and another for the superhero Captain America, but they decided to get an actor that could play both roles instead. I guess they got Matt Salinger. Who's just, like I said, he's a wimp. He's a wimpy Captain America. There's some moments where his stunt double does some stunts and does some martial arts that's cool, but it's not Matt Salinger doing it. He's allergic to the rubber suit that he's wearing, so he has to wear fake rubber ears. So it's like the guy can't even wear the Captain America suit without breaking out in hives. But anyway, Rubber ears. I don't get it. Rubber ears. It's I don't, I would definitely say rubber nipples is worse than rubber ears, but it's not saying much. But anyway, he doesn't look he doesn't have the right look either. He's a bit too gangly to be Cap, and also he looks like Anthony Michael Hall. He's just totally Anthony Michael Hall or a crappy Michael Dudikoff. And thinking of that, this is how you make the movie better. Cast Michael Dudikoff as Captain America. Why not? He's a blonde. He's an American ninja. It just makes too much sense. It makes so much sense to have casted him as Captain America. Why would you not go with Michael Dudikoff? Was he doing River of Death, maybe? Well, then wait till he's done shooting that. Get him to be in Captain America. Wait to shoot the film 21st Century Corporation until you get Michael Dudikoff to play Captain America. Because that would be awesome. Because then it would be a guy who can actually fight. Michael Dudikoff can actually fight, and then fuck Albert Pyun, get Sam Furstenberg, and you might have it actually might have a pretty classic Captain America movie, instead of the guilty pleasure that it is for me, that I can watch, and it's a time waster, but I know that it sucks, and I know that it's a bad film, but I can enjoy it for some reason. It's just one of those bad movies that I can enjoy, like Megaforce. But anyway, it's just why not? Michael Dudikoff, it just makes so much sense. They didn't do it. It's a missed opportunity. So they got the guy who's never acted before and it definitely does show. And so you have Matt Salinger instead of Michael Dudikoff plays Steve Rogers Captain America. Ronny Cox plays President Tom Kimball, who I like Ronny Cox in this. Scott Paulin plays the Red Skull, and Tadzio de Sestantis, which is lame. And Scott Paulin, he's a really good actor. If you've ever seen the Twilight Zone episode, the 80s Twilight Zone episode Nightcrawlers, directed by William Friedkin, he's in that, and he does an amazing job in that segment, in that episode, acting-wise. Here, I swear to God, he's just emulating Bela Lugosi. It's like, I never drink wine. It sounds like Dracula. It's really lame. Red Skull should not sound like Dracula at any point, and that's what he sounds like. He sounds like Dracula. And then he's only the Red Skull for a little bit. And then he's just this guy with plastic surgery in his face. Like I said, reminds me of Henry Silva from Above the Law. You think you're above the law, but you ain't above mine, Red Skull. Anyway, then you have Ned Beatty, plays a brief role as Ronny Cox's childhood friend Sam, who's a reporter. He does a decent job of what he has to offer, what he has to work with. Darren McGavin is in this, a General Fleming, pretty nothing role, just a turncoat who works for the Red Skull. Bill Mumy as young Fleming. Francesca Neri as Valentina De Santis, who I guess is the Red Skull's daughter. Which I'm like, why does she look normal? Like, wasn't he turned into the Red Skull with all this experimental serum stuff? Wouldn't she also be disfigured? I don't know. Just something I caught. Michael Nouri's in a very blink and you miss it role as Lieutenant Colonel Lewis in the flashback sequences in the beginning in the 40s. Kim Gillingham plays Bernice and Sharon, which is really kind of weird. She plays Steve Rogers' girlfriend in the 40s. She plays old Steve Rogers' girlfriend, and then she plays young. She plays Steve Rogers' new girlfriend. And she's not the greatest actress in the world, but she had some personality, some spunk to her I didn't mind. But yeah, when the scenes where she's in old age makeup, that's totally unconvincing and trying to act old, it's bad. It really is. It's just a young actress in old age makeup, and it doesn't. The illusion just doesn't work. Melinda Dillon is in this as Mrs. Rogers, which is funny. Both her and Darren McGavin are kind of reuniting in a way, but they're never on the screen at the same time. And I remember those two the most as the husband and wife in Christmas Story. Carla Cosola plays Dr. Maria Vicelli. Doesn't have really much to do except just be there and then disappear. And pretty much just the plot is this. The movie opens up in 1936 fascist Italy. And it opens up in Italy. And then you see the title, Captain America titles come on the screen. You're like, okay, this is kind of an oxymoron. It's opening up in Italy. Where America? In 1936, fascist Italy, the government kidnaps a boy, Tadizio De Santis, and kills his family. And this is supposed to be a movie, I guess, for kids. It's not really. This is a PG-13 film. It's pretty. A lot of the movie even opens up with a kid getting kidnapped by a bunch of fascist Nazis and then turned into a super soldier against his will. So he's needed for an experimental project to create a fascist super soldier. Dr. Maria Vicelli objects to using Tadzio, and under the cover of gunfire flees to the U.S. to offer services to the Americans. Then before we even see the kid get subjected to the serum, we see a decent stop-motion effect of a rat that got affected with the serum. It's kind of a pointless scene, but it is what it is. It just shows you what it would do, why he would become the Red Skull. And then 7 years later, the American government finds a volunteer in Steve Rogers, a soldier who's excluded himself from the draft because of his polio. The formula that successfully transforms Rogers into a superhero, but before any more super soldiers can be created using the formula she keeps in her head, Vicelli is murdered by a Nazi spy. And the way he does it is funny. He's like, "Oh, Mrs. Vicelli, nice work. Heil Hitler! Oh, nice work. Psych! Heil Hitler!" It's just, come on. This is a different type of corny in comparison to the 70s TV movies. So Maselli gets murdered by the Nazi spy, but Steve gets shot a few times, practical blood squibs too, and then he goes in and fights the Nazi spy, throws him into a panel, electrocutes him. And then meanwhile, he's recovering in the hospital, and the doctor's telling Michael Nouri that he's not gonna make it, and and then he's like, "Well, we really need him because the Red Skull is gonna launch a rocket at the White House." It's like, "I'm sorry, I'll let you know if I have any developments." And then Steve gets up and he's all like, "I heard you need my help," or something like that. It's like, "Oh, all right." And so then he gets into his Captain America outfit, and he even makes a joke that Dr. Vicelli wasn't very good at camouflage, because it's just definitely not a very good camouflage. And so he goes in and gets dropped out of a plane, fights a couple of Nazis, hits some of them with his shield, knocks down a tower with his shield, blows up some trucks with his shield. That was a decent little sequence. And then then it's a decent little build up, and you think it's building up to a big fight. And then he fucking goes up to the Red Skull, and the Red Skull just kicks his ass. It's just like, ah, and then he's kneeing him in the stomach, beating the shit out of him, takes a pin out with some poison and knocks his ass out. Ties Cap's star-spangled ass to a fucking rocket. And then Captain grabs him by the arm and is basically saying, I'm taking you with me. Because I even like when he first sees Captain America, he's, "Oh good, an American. Just when I'm needing help of my English lessons." And yeah, I'm just trying. Yeah, they don't have. Here it is. It's like, no, they don't really have that line. But anyway, he just goes, "I was like, I'll take you with me." And then Red Skull's like, "Stop the rocket, stop it!" And it doesn't work. They can't stop it. And so the Red Skull just cuts off his hand. Instead of letting go, I guess he can't let go. I guess he can't punch Cap in the face. I guess he's not strong enough to pull his hand away from him. He's also a super soldier, so I don't know. But he cuts off his hand. You don't really see it, but cuts off his hand. The rocket goes up in the air. And then there's this young boy whose dreams of being the president young Tom Kimball, who would grow up to be Ronny Cox, then sees Captain America on his rocket, narrowly fly over the White House because he kicks at the rocket enough, I guess, to change its direction so it doesn't crash into the White House. Rather convenient. And then it crashes into Alaska. And then Captain America freezes. And then we get like a montage of newspapers that's showing the passage of time. And I didn't mind the way they handled it, actually. I thought it was kind of different. And then pretty much Rogers manages to penetrate the launch compound, but like I said, Red Skull kicks his ass. He lands in Alaska, where he remains frozen for 50 years until 1993. Then Kimball goes on to become an honest politician and Vietnam War hero until being elected the President of the United States of America. A year into his term, he's pushing for pro-environmentalist legislation that is angering the military-industrial complex, who hold a secret conference in Italy that is led by the Red Skull, who isn't really Red Skull anymore because he got plastic surgery, which is just lame. And so then following the war, Red Skull had extensive plastic surgery, like I said. He raised a daughter, Valentina, which I don't know why she's not disfigured, become the leader of a powerful crime family. It's like the Red Skull Mafia. Lovely. And in the 1960s, this American military and industrial complex at the Fortress of Lorenzo, I even remember the name of the fortress. Yeah. They hired the Red Skull and his thugs to murder various Americans who were against their militarism and Red Skull's fascism, such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., President John F. Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy. And I thought that was kind of an interesting bit of screenwriting there. And so now Red Skull is targeting President Kimball for kidnapping and brainwashing. So he can brainwash him and he can be the president. Rogers' frozen body is then found in Alaska by researchers. He awakens still thinking that he is in the 1940s. I thought the way the scene was shot where he wakes up out of the block of ice, I thought was pretty well handled, actually. And then after battling some of the Red Skull's thugs, he brushes off Sam Kolowitz, a reporter and childhood friend of President Kimball, and hitchhikes his way back to his wartime girlfriend, Bernice, in California. But really, Sam picks him up, and then he acts like, oh, excuse me, I'm going to be sick. He's like, oh, what? Pull over, I'm going to be sick. Really bad line delivery, too. Like, very wooden. And he gets out of the van, and then he goes and it just steals the car. It just steals the car from Ned Beatty. And of course, before that, he had a lame motorcycle chase with a bunch of random hot chicks. Well, I guess the Red Skull, instead of employing assassins that are actually deadly, he employs the totally spies for some reason. Employs a bunch of supermodels. So, you know, you could do a better job with your henchmen. Just saying. Maybe you should be thinking with your brain and not with the other brain in your pants. But anyway, so yeah, they chase this lame chase. He fakes being sick, steals a car from Ned Beatty. Really awful montage with an awful song. Memories that I don't remember, or I remember. He's in the back of a truck or whatever, hitchhiking to see Bernice. And she just conveniently has lived in the same house since 1937. And she's long since married and raised her own daughter, Sharon, who's played by the same actress. And she also plays the older Bernice, and it just doesn't work. That she plays that, it just does not work at all. It really doesn't. It's really bad. It's a bad performance. And then Sharon then gives Rogers a series of VHS history tapes so he can catch up on what happened while he was frozen in ice. If I want to watch something like that, dealing with catching up on history, I'll watch Austin Powers, because that was a lot better. The Austin Powers segment. It's like, Mama Cass, dead? Cause of the ham sandwich. I just remember the scene where he's got the Reeboks or whatever, the Pump It Nikes. It's like, it pops in his face. I'd rather talk about, you know, Austin Powers. I mean, like I said, I can watch this movie as a time waster, but it's not a good film. It really isn't. But anyway, it's watching these VHS history tapes to catch up on But then Red Skull's thugs, led by Valentina, break into Bernice's house, kill her. You don't see her kill her. You just see her. She gets thrown down by them. Uh, Ned Beatty also gets shot, and then her husband has a heart attack during their efforts to find where Rogers is hiding. Actually, he gets shot and then gets taken to a hospital. Wikipedia is wrong, but it's Wikipedia. Then Rogers and Sharon then visit the secret underground base where he gained his superpowers, which is hidden behind in the women's bathroom of the diner. So it's really awkward, and he goes in there. Steve goes in there because he knows where it is. And Sharon's like, "Wait, you can't go in there." It's like, "Shh, be quiet, Sharon." Punches the wall into the women's bathroom and just walks and finds the secret underground base. And I watched the Blu-ray rip on my hard drive, so I was finally able to see what the fuck was going on in this scene. For the longest time, even when I watched this on VHS growing up, it's so shot so dark in the dark, you can't see shit. And even Blu-ray, it was still kind of hard to see. Um, Not very good lighting, not really shot very well by Albert Pyun. So he gets in a little bit of fisticuff, a little bit of fights with some of Red Skull's thugs. He finds Vasili's diary that contains the original name of the Red Skull there, and then the Red Skull's thugs try to grab it. Rogers then kicks a bunch of their asses, and then Rogers and Sharon then vow revenge as well as the rescue of the recently kidnapped president. They then travel to Italy and then locate Red Skull's home and an old recording of the murder of his parents. Sharon agrees to be kidnapped to allow Rogers, which actually this happens later because then you have a few other chase scenes, a little bit of action with the totally spies chasing after Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers does the fucking fake sick thing to steal Sharon's car again, which I'm like, you're such an asshole. And I think that's even what she called him. You're an asshole, Steve. Well, he is. And then it's just completely pointless because she shows up later when he's trying to get some information from somebody to try to find out, so to some translation or to find a way to find the old Red Skull's old house. And he's talking to this woman, Italian woman, who's speaking outside of her window. He doesn't know what she's saying. And then Sharon comes up out of nowhere and translates it for him. So I'm like, that was absolutely pointless. That was. He didn't need to see his fakes. Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick. Steal the car twice. He didn't have to do that. It's a carjack. He's Captain Carjacker. Captain Carjacker. So then, ultimately, though, Sharon does give herself up. So Cap can put on his costume and enter Red Skull's castle. And then he gets in a little bit of fisticuff, knocks out a couple bad guys, fights side by side with Ronny Cox, and then now it's just Cap versus the Red Skull, and well, it's not really Red. It's DeSantis, and he keeps. And DeSantis starts off where he left off, and kicking Captain America's ass. He's like, "You remain a poor choice, little brother." And then Captain America's like, "Stop calling me your brother!" And punches him. And then Cap actually gets a little bit more. In terms of more punches into this fight, kicks the Red Skull's ass, but then he comes out with a bomb. But I like this one even before he gets into the fight. And this is actually the best line delivery that Matt Salinger has. Red Skull is speaking here to Cap, and he's like, 50 years ago, you were Dr. Vasili's ridiculous idea. You remain a clownish symbol that no one cares about. I care. You care? Then come to me, my brother. Let's see if this heart of yours is stronger than my hate. And then a little bit of a fight. Not much, but it's a little bit. And then it would have been much better if Michael Dudikoff was fighting and not Matt Salinger, who was about as good of a fighter as Anthony Michael Hall. And so it did a little bit of fight. Then Red Skull's got the bomb. He's going to blow up the nuclear dirty bomb. And yeah, it's a dirty bomb. And then Rogers then uses Sharon's recording of the murder of Red Skull's family to distract him, while the Red Skull's lost in thought. Even though he's lost in thought, but he even says things like, "We are both tragedies, and now I send our tortured souls to rest. Speak for yourself." And then he throws his shield at Red Skull and knocks him off the cliff before he can press the detonator, before the bomb blows up. But I really don't get it, because it looks like he already set the bomb to go off. And it's slowly counting down from 3 to 1, or 1 to 3, and I'm like, didn't he already set the bomb? Like, even knocks him off the cliff, it's not gonna make any difference. The place is still gonna blow up. I thought he already activated it with the press of a button. They didn't handle that very well. He uses a shield, knocks Red Skull off the cliff, and then Valentina prepares to kill Rogers with her gun. But then his shield comes in and knocks her ass out. And Wikipedia says he gets decapitated from behind by his returning shield. She doesn't get decapitated. I wish. And then the United States Marines show up out of nowhere to save the president, but he already saved himself, and arrest Americans involved in the kidnapping. And the credits roll with a comic book image of Captain America in the background, and a plea to support the United States Environmental Protection Act of 1990, because this movie had to really go there for some reason. And even you have the last lines are from Ronny Cox's character, and he's talking about, like, in Rome today, this is a newscaster, it's like, in Rome today, 116 nations agreed to an environmental protection treaty. In a brief statement after the signing, President Kimball asked that we remember the many people who have gallantly sacrificed all to make our world a better place to live. The president closed his statement with this odd message: to Captain America, wherever he is, we're all back in the fight. And then you have a really patriotic theme song in the back, in the background of the end credits, with the picture of the comic book Captain America, which is like, I didn't mind the song. I actually didn't mind the song, actually, and it's a bit corny, but I didn't mind it. And yeah, America, fuck yeah! No, really, I just, because there was a little meme that was going around that had the picture of Cap giving a thumbs up, saying thanks to the president. It's like, thanks. And then someone also did like a Mentos commercial, which is pretty funny. Mentos, thanks. Captain America for Mentos. But anyway, I really don't know what else to say about this one. I'm not saying it's a good movie. It isn't. It's just a film that, I don't know what it is this time around. I just didn't hate it. I found some enjoyment out of it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. It kept my interest enough. I thought the pacing was a lot better than the TV movies. It went by at a quicker pace. And in an online interview, Albert Pyun talked about that the film was shelved for 2 years because it wasn't the movie the studio wanted, plus the producing studio was undergoing financial issues. He then said the most challenging part about shooting the film was that they lacked proper funding. He says it's pretty difficult to make a film when there are times we actually had no money in the bank. So maybe the budget of 10 million that Wikipedia has isn't really accurate, because if there's no money in the bank, that means they must have ran out of some cash. Because 10 million sounds a little bit too high to me for this film, and a little bit too high for a 21st century production as well. But I don't really know for sure. But anyway, like I said, I really don't know what to say about the film. I've already mentioned pretty much what I like about it, what I don't. And I really don't know what to say except a rate out of 5 stars. 3. I know. 3 out of 5. It's an average, okay time waster for me. I gotta be honest. At least this time around. I think it's just because I'm such a big fan of Captain America. I mean, that might be it. I'm able to let a little bit of this other lame stuff slide for a little bit to see Cap on screen, and I definitely have a little bit of nostalgia with this one, and I don't think it's as bad as some of the worst comic book movies. I think there are definitely a lot worse comic book movies out there than this film. I'm not saying it's a good movie though. I'm just saying that I don't think it's as bad as its reputation suggests, for me personally. But I'm the guy who loves Howard the Duck, so what the hell do I know? But anyway, I really don't know what else to say, except thank you for watching my review of Captain America, and stay tuned for my reviews of the really good Captain America movies, the movies, the Captain America movies that even Captain America fans can enjoy, and also even people who aren't even the biggest fans of Captain America can also enjoy uh, First Avenger, Winter Soldier. But anyway, thank you for watching my review, and I will see you guys later. See ya.